There's a waterfall on this island that pours straight into the ocean floor, and it's completely fake. An optical illusion so convincing, pilots still bank their helicopters to get a better look. There's sand here in 7 colors that scientists have shaken, stirred, and buried, and it always separates back into stripes every single time. And on one mountain, a group of enslaved people once saw freedom arriving and jumped to their deaths because they thought it was their execution. This is Mauritius, a place smaller than Rhode Island, holding a bird that no longer exists anywhere on Earth, a festival where 500,000 people walk barefoot for 3 days straight, and a history so violent it somehow taught the island how to live in peace. Stay until the end. The mountain part is real, and it's worse than it sounds. Number 1. Born of Fire, Raised in Solitude. Born of Fire, Raised in Solitude. 9 million years ago, deep beneath the Indian Ocean, a volcano broke the surface. It erupted for ages, cooled, and went silent. What it left behind was an island with no neighbor, no landmass close enough to call family. Mauritius rose alone, roughly 500 miles east of Madagascar, its closest sizable landmass, and nearly 1,200 miles from the African mainland. Today, that lonely berth has become 790 square miles of black basalt cliffs, jagged peaks, and coastlines so complete you can circle the island by car in about 2 hours. A place with no shared routes would one day become the place 4 different routes chose to call home. The climate splits cleanly into 2 seasons, a cooler, drier stretch from May through October, and a hotter, more humid season from November through April, when cyclones are possible. Ocean temperatures stay warm year-round, rarely dropping below the mid-70s Fahrenheit. Off the southwest coast, near a mountain called Morne, something strange waits beneath calm water. From above, it looks like a waterfall pouring into the ocean floor itself. We will come back to that. But first, we need to talk about who actually came to this lonely island and why. Number 2, journeys that were never a choice. The first people to set foot on this island rarely chose to come. Most arrived as enslaved Africans and Malagasy, indentured laborers from India, traders from China, and settlers from France and Britain. An island born from separation, forced labor, and loss would somehow, generations later, become a symbol of coexistence. Today, of roughly 1.3 million Mauritians, about 2/3 trace their roots to India, close to a quarter to African and Malagasy ancestry, a small percentage to Chinese heritage, and a smaller share to French colonial descent. But those numbers aren't where the story starts. They're the result of 2 centuries of choices made afterward. How does the descendant of someone once torn from their homeland end up sharing a street, a meal, a festival with the descendant of someone who once owned people like them? Walk through any local market and you'll see it answered quietly. Vendors from different faiths selling side by side. Holidays shared across communities without a second thought. Children here often grow up speaking 3 or 4 languages before the age of 10, a kind of inherited fluency in understanding people unlike themselves. 2 names carry that legacy forward: a biologist, who became the nation's first woman president, and a novelist who went on to win the Nobel Prize in Literature. Proof that a small island's history can still reach the whole world. But to really understand how this happened, we have to go to the one place where the island's past became impossible to ignore. Number 3. The capital, where the past shakes hands with the future. Port Louis sits like a bowl, mountains on 3 sides, ocean open on the 4th. Colonial buildings from the 1800s stand beside glass towers built for the next century. This city never chose between its past and its future. It kept both. Walk a few minutes and you're in Chinatown, home to one of the oldest Chinese temples in the Southern Hemisphere, standing since the 1840s. A quiet reminder of people who arrived as strangers and became part of the place. Central Market comes alive each morning, curry in one stall, dumplings in another, spices and fruits stacked between them. 4 culinary traditions, sold feet apart, perfected side by side for generations. 15 minutes south, the picture shifts. Ebon Cyber City, often called the Silicon Valley of Africa, now hosts over 100 tech and finance companies. The same person in a sharp suit by morning is back at the waterfront by evening, unwinding where old and new city meet. On weekends, the city gathers at Champ de Mars, one of the world's oldest horse racing tracks, running since 1812. For a few hours, background stops mattering. Everyone breathes to the same rhythm. This city never had to pick a side. Maybe that's the first clue to everything else this island became. Number 4. Le Morne, the mountain of a fatal misunderstanding. Rising 1,824 feet at the island's southwest tip, Le Morne stands alone, often wrapped in cloud, taller than the Empire State Building. Its beauty isn't why it became a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2008. Its history is. In the 1700s and 1800s, enslaved people who had escaped captivity climbed this mountain and lived hidden in its caves and mist, safe from the world below. In 1835, Britain abolished slavery. Officers climbed up to deliver the news. But from a distance, armed men approaching looked like something else entirely, and the message never had the chance to be understood the way it was meant. Today, February 1st, is marked as Abolition of Slavery Day in Mauritius, a date the nation chose to remember rather than forget. The island's national flower, Trichetia butoniana, grows only on this mountain's cliffs, nowhere else on Earth. A fragile bloom, rooted in the same slopes where people once hid, now standing as a national symbol. You can hike Le Morne today, a guided trek of 3 to 4 hours. At the summit, the lagoon glows below, the ocean stretches endlessly, and the weight of the story stays with you. This isn't just a mountain, it's the reason everything that came after mattered so much. Number 5. Villages where the wound became a proud name. From Le Morne's summit, the road winds down into the island's only mountain village, home to descendants of the freed people who once hid on that very peak. About 800 people live here today, many carrying unusual surnames like l'Intelligent, la Sagesse, la Fantaisie, names once given by French priests to describe character. What began as something imposed is now worn with quiet pride. Life here still moves to an old rhythm. Fields at dawn, long lunches at noon, and by early evening, the whole village gathers beneath a mango tree. Someone brings out a framed drum. Sega begins, the same music born generations ago from people letting go of the day's wait, still played tonight the same way. Head north, and the story shifts again. Villages there hold on to Bhojpuri traditions brought from India, including wedding rituals recognized by UNESCO, sometimes drawing 500 to 1,000 guests. Each community kept its own trace of how it arrived here. None of them erased the other's memories. Somewhere else, a painful past might stay buried. Here, it's given a name, sung aloud most evenings, and passed down as a quiet reminder. This island came through something together and chose to remember it out loud rather than hide it. Number 6. Sega, the music of people who had nothing left to lose. You'll hear it before you see it. A drum, a rattle, then a whole crowd moving as one. That's Sega, born in the 1700s from enslaved people on sugar plantations who gathered after sundown, when the work was done and the only thing left was each other. 3 instruments carry it: the ravan, a large frame drum; the maravan, a wooden box filled with seeds; and a simple metal triangle. No electricity, no stage, just people choosing to let go of the day's pain together. In 2014, UNESCO added Sega to its list of intangible cultural heritage. Tifrere remains its most beloved voice, still played at weddings today. Kaya later blended Sega with reggae into what became known as Sege, and though he died young in 1999, his music never stopped playing across the island. On Sunday evenings, locals still gather on Flic-en-Flac Beach with ravans in hand. If you're standing nearby, they'll wave you in. Sega was never a performance. It was survival set to rhythm. And when they invite you to dance, they're inviting you into the very thing that once helped them heal. Number 7. A meal is the easiest way to make peace. If you try one thing on this island, make it dol puri, a thin, soft flatbread filled with ground yellow split peas and turmeric, topped with bean curry and pickle, rolled up for about $1. It doesn't belong to any single community. It belongs to everyone here. Ask any Mauritian which stall makes it best and be ready for an argument, a small, friendly one that never actually divides anyone. Then there's gâteau piment, crispy chili cakes eaten for breakfast, and rougail, a tomato stew with garlic, thyme, and ginger, where every family swears by their own recipe. In Chinatown, steamed dumplings simmer in broth. And to drink, a lauda, a pink milky mix of basil seeds and vanilla, something like bubble tea's quiet ancestor. 4 culinary traditions, often eaten off the same plate in the same meal, without anyone thinking twice. Maybe long before these communities learned how to live side by side, they had already learned how to cook side by side, one recipe borrowed, one ingredient shared at a time. Number 8. Grand Bassin, where a dream became a sacred river. High in the mountains, at 1,804 feet above sea level, a 108-foot statue of Lord Shiva rises, trident in hand, overlooking a crater lake called Grand Bassin, known to Hindus as Ganga Talao, the lake of the Ganges. The story goes back to 1897, when a Hindu priest in the village of Triolet dreamed of a hidden lake connected to the sacred Ganges, thousands of miles away in India. He went searching, and he found it. In 1972, water actually brought from the Ganges was poured into this lake, and from that moment, it became the Ganges of Mauritius. Today, the site is watched over by that towering Shiva statue and a matching one of the goddess Durga, with smaller shrines to Ganesh and Hanuman around the water. Entry is free, open around the clock, shoes off before stepping into any temple. For a community carried thousands of miles from home, this lake became something rare, a piece of the homeland, recreated by faith, right where they now belonged. We'll return to this exact spot later, on the one night each year when 500,000 people walk here barefoot. Number 9. Sand that refuses to blend. People who chose to picture sand dunes in 7 colors: red, purple, green, blue, yellow, ochre, violet, and here's the strange part. Shake them together in a jar, and they separate right back into stripes every single time. The science is simple. About 9 million years ago, this land was volcanic. As lava cooled, different minerals oxidized at different speeds, iron turning parts red, aluminum turning others blue and violet. 9 million years later, you're looking at a natural rainbow that refuses to mix no matter how hard you try. Nearby, the Chamarel waterfall drops around 330 feet into the jungle below. Giant tortoises roam the grounds, living well past a century, and the island's only coffee plantation grows quietly on the same volcanic soil. There's something almost pointed about this place. Nature here draws a hard line between its colors and keeps it no matter what. And yet just a few miles away, the people of this island chose the opposite path every single day, blending, sharing, staying together anyway. Even when nature refuses to mix, the people here never stopped choosing to. Number 10. What hides beneath a peaceful surface? Remember that strange shape near Le Morne we mentioned earlier? Here's what's actually happening beneath the water. The lagoon stays shallow, only about 20 feet deep. Then suddenly the ocean floor drops off a continental shelf into a trench nearly 4,000 feet down. Currents pull sand and silt over that edge, and from above, it looks exactly like a waterfall pouring off the edge of the world. It's an optical illusion, but the drop-off is very real. Helicopter tours cover it in 15 to 30 minutes, often looping past Le Morne and the seven-colored earth in the same flight. Prefer solid ground. Black River Gorges National Park holds miles of forest trails and two remarkable comeback stories. The dodo, once native only to this island, vanished by the late 1600s after new predators arrived with early settlers. But in 1974, the Mauritius kestrel was down to just 4 birds in the wild, the rarest bird on the planet. Decades of conservation work brought that number into the hundreds, and in 2022, it became the national bird. The pink pigeon followed a similar path back from the brink. This island once lost something it could never get back. Since then, it's spent decades making sure that never happens again. Number 11. Rum, tea, and coffee. The taste of this land. Beneath the surface of every rum bottle here is sugarcane, still covering roughly a third of the island. At Roumerie de Chamarel, fresh cane molasses is distilled and aged in oak barrels, and the result has been sold on shelves in the United States since 2019. A small taste of this island now traveling far beyond it. At Bois Chéri, the island's oldest tea estate, dating back to 1892, vanilla tea grows right on the property. Its plantation walk ending with a tasting and a view over the surrounding hills. And on the same volcanic soil that colors those 7-hued dunes, the island's only coffee plantation quietly grows beans found nowhere else here. 3 drinks, 3 different histories, 1 shared soil. Maybe that's the simplest way this island keeps saying the same thing. Everything grown here, and everyone who ever arrived here eventually became part of the same land. Number 12. Île aux Cerfs. A moment to breathe. After everything this island has carried, some places exist simply to let you exhale. Île aux Cerfs, a small island just off the east coast, is exactly that kind of place. Miles of white sand, a lagoon so clear you can see your own feet in 6 feet of water, and palm trees leaning at just the right angle, as if the whole island was built for a single photograph. Catamarans leave from Trudeau Douce most mornings, running full-day trips that usually include a barbecue lunch, drinks, and a few stops for snorkeling along the way. It's less a boat ride and more a slow, easy drift through some of the calmest water on the island. Further south, Blue Bay Marine Park protects dozens of coral species inside a shallow, sheltered lagoon, calm enough to snorkel straight from the beach without needing a boat at all. Locals often call this stretch of coast the Bora Bora of the Indian Ocean, and once you're standing in that water, it's easy to understand why. Here, for a few hours, nothing about history, heritage, or hardship needs explaining. The water simply does the talking, and the island lets you rest. But if you want to feel this island's spirit at its rawest, don't come here on an ordinary afternoon. Come back in February, on the one night each year when 500,000 people walk barefoot toward a single sacred lake. Number 13. Mahashivaratri. The answer to the question we started. With once a year, the roads here fill not with cars, but with people. 500,000 of them, walking, some barefoot, carrying small wooden shrines called kanwa on their shoulders, all moving toward the same place, Grand Bassin. This is Mahashivaratri, the largest Hindu festival held anywhere outside India. Some pilgrims walk just a few miles, others walk 30, 40, even 50 miles, journeys that can take 2 or 3 full days on foot. And here's the part that says everything about this island. Along the way, free food and water stations appear on nearly every road, and they aren't run only by Hindu families. Muslim, Christian, and Chinese communities set up stalls too, standing for hours, feeding strangers they will likely never see again. At Grand Bassin, pilgrims bathe in the sacred water, offer flowers and fruit to Shiva, and light small oil lamps that stay burning through the night. In the morning, many carry a bottle of that water home, believed to bless their family for the year ahead. 500,000 people, year after year, without incident. Not because everyone here is the same, but because this island learned, at a real cost, that misunderstanding is far more dangerous than difference ever was. Number 14. Practical information for your own journey. The sweet spot for visiting runs late September through mid-November, when winter has just ended, cyclone season hasn't started, and prices haven't spiked yet. Peak season runs late December into early January. Beautiful, but rates often climb 40 to 60%, so book around 6 months ahead. Mid-January through early March marks cyclone peak, worth avoiding if possible. Budget travelers often find the best value in May and June, when prices drop 30 to 40%. Flights from the US typically run in the range of $1,200 to $1,800 round trip, usually connecting through Dubai, Paris, or Johannesburg. Budget guest houses run roughly $70 to $110 a night, while mid-range resorts fall between $200 and $340, and luxury all-inclusive properties start around $700 and up. A street meal, like dal puri, costs about $1. A sit-down meal, typically $10 to $20. American travelers can enter visa-free for up to 60 days with a return ticket and proof of accommodation, and remote workers can apply for a longer-term premium visa. A few local customs worth knowing. Driving is on the left, shoes come off before entering temples, shoulders and knees stay covered, and touching the coral reef is both illegal and harmful. Tipping isn't required, though 10% is appreciated. The island consistently ranks among the safest in Africa, a small but telling reward for a place that learned the hard way how to live together. Number 15. The answer to the question we started with. We began by asking what happens when freedom finally arrives, but you've been taught to fear it. On Le Morne, that question ended in tragedy, but the story didn't stop there. The answer this island eventually gave wasn't found on that mountain. It was found in everything that came after. A market where rival faiths sell side by side. A song born from suffering, still sung with joy. A meal that belongs to no one and everyone. A lake that became a second home for people carried far from their own. And 500,000 strangers feeding each other on a single sacred night. Mauritius never pretended. Its differences disappeared. Descendants of the enslaved and descendants of enslavers, families who arrived by force and families who arrived by choice, all still live here, side by side, carrying different histories in the same small space. What this island proves isn't that difference stopped existing. It's that people can choose something larger than the fear of it, generation after generation, without being asked to forget where they came from. If this story stayed with you, ask yourself, has a misunderstanding ever cost you something you can't get back? Share it in the comments. If Mauritius just earned a place on your list, let us know below. And if you know someone who needs to see this island, send this their way. That's Mauritius, a small island that turned its deepest wound into its greatest lesson. If this story moved you, hit like, subscribe to World Decoded, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next journey. Drop a comment telling us which country we should decode next. And if someone in your life needs to see this, share it with them. Until next time, take care of each other. This video shares Mauritius's history for educational purposes, including its most difficult chapters, told with respect for the people who lived it. If any part of this story affects you personally, please don't hesitate to reach out to someone you trust.